Welcome to another episode of UEN's PDTV. In Samie Ott's classroom at Bryce Valley Elementary, Utah's computer science standards are integrated across the curriculum all year long. Now, Samie students are ready to showcase all they have learned about computational thinking.
We are at Bryce Valley Elementary, obviously out in the middle of nowhere, some people would say, but it's beautiful. We have nowhere else would have the Comparowitz Plateau in front of you and then Bryce Canyon National Park behind you. I've taught at Bryce Elementary for 20 years. We are a Title I school. We're kind of unique. We have 35% Hispanic. It gets challenging, but it's also wonderful to bring in the different cultures. We only have one teacher per grade here, so collaboration can get interesting, but it's fun, and we're very tight-knit. We're very small community, which can bring in challenges, but it also can bring in a lot of great things.
EdTech Competency 3E focuses on providing opportunities for learners to engage in computational thinking learning experiences. Samie facilitates these kinds of learning experiences by integrating the computer science standards into English language arts, mathematics, science, social studies, every core content area.
The reason why we focused a lot on bringing in computer science to our area was we don't have a lot of people that will live here or come here because it's remote. So by teaching the kids about computer science and bringing in their standards and making them come alive for them is to try to bring people to come back to live here, because you can work remotely with computer science. And so by studying the standards and opening them up to them, I think that that's going to help our community as a whole, but also help them as individuals. My focus is on the computational thinking, the standard of that, the strand, because it goes into all areas of education and all areas of what we can teach them and how they can be individuals. And school's changed the last 20 years, but I've learned, and I wanted to learn them and how to teach them, and the kids love it and they get excited about it, and it just brings all the different subjects to life.
Your 20 years of experience, even if it wasn't all computer science, is definitely in the core content. And what you were saying is that computational thinking supports all of those areas. So tell me a little bit more about how you incorporate the computer science and computational thinking into all the other subjects you teach.
I teach 4th, 5th, and 6th grades, and so I actually teach literacy. So I teach the language arts to 4th, 5th, and 6th, and in the afternoon I do STEAM. So I obviously bring in all the different components other than language arts in the afternoon. But one of the things that we focused on for language arts was doing animation of stories. So we bring out the software for animation, different types, and then they make their stories come to life. They will video themselves and doing book reports on whatever, their favorite part of their story or book. And then with math, we're actually doing the drones and how we're doing degrees and angles. Science, obviously, you can go so much into that. With their passion projects, they focus in on what they want to learn, so they have choice in it. So anytime you have choice, or anytime you give the students a buy-in, and I think sometimes we have to bring the curriculum to life so that they can, have an interest in it and make it exciting.
And so one of the ways you're doing this is the passion projects you mentioned. Tell me a little bit more about that. What are they? How do you facilitate them as a teacher? And what do the kids end up doing through these projects?
So we give them the standards, the computer science standards, obviously, and then also whatever other standards that we have taught throughout the year. And then they'll focus on, pulling one out and picking something that they want to do. So one of the students, just for an example, made a makey game because they love video games, and so they wanted to create a game on their own that they did with the makey. Another student did a habitat for, an animal habitat that they were just interested in. So it's just definitely on what they're interested in, and then they can bring in any of the standards from whether it's science, math, but we always tie in a computer science standard. And the skill of problem solving, I think, is a big one that computer science standards obviously teach and go about and do.
Now, I think a lot of people think computer science and coding and robots, you do some of that as well, don't you? I saw some, I think, spheros in your classroom.
Yes, we do a lot with the spheros. We have a really awesome person. Her name is Mrs. Sean Kane, our district lead for computer science. And each grade has a different tool. We call it a tech toy, is what the kids like to call them, that we've learned on and done a project with. So 5th grade is the spheros. So we do a lot with the spheros, and then we just started the drones, which have been a lot of fun. We do every other Friday, we do a computer science hour where we teach a lesson, or they come in and then we let the kids explore, and then they teach them as well. So they become, the experts on it.
I love that. Nothing solidifies a concept better than them having to teach it themselves. I love the crossover then, that you have some very focused, robot lessons, but then all that they're learning crosses over into the other content areas.
Yes. I think that's what makes computer science exciting, because it can make the areas that they feel are boring, math, sometimes language arts, definitely. Science isn't as boring, but you can help them come alive.
So the end of the year is a really fun time for your class because they get an opportunity to showcase these passion projects that they've been working on. Tell me how that runs. What are some of the things that the students are going to be showing off to the community tomorrow?
So it's really important for us to bring in the community and invite parents in to see what we've learned and what we focused on. The kids get really excited. A lot of times you see showcases where it's a structured one thing that you can go and see, and here we do what we call the celebration of learning, and they showcase their passion projects, which is something that they're passionate about, something that they want to learn more about, or something that they've enjoyed learning through the year, and they can either showcase it using technology, they can use art, they can build stuff however they want to showcase it. A lot of them choose the computer science avenue, a lot of them choose art to showcase stories, poems, building, creating, anything like that. So they have a rubric obviously that they follow, and then they bring in the standards, and then they present. Most of them have videoed themselves doing it, and then they put it through into a slideshow, and then they can have it done so that the parents can come in and see, or grandparents, or whoever they want to invite. And they're very proud about their projects.
When the students make the computer science projects, do they know, can they say, oh yeah, and this meets this standard, and this is what we were working on here, and this is what I learned from this part of the project?
Yes, and that's part of the rubric that we have. We have a room that they'll go and do for computer science that we'll go and teach at, and so they're listed down in the room, and they're familiar with the language, and so we spend a great deal at the beginning of the year teaching them the different language of the words that they need to know, algorithm, and all of those things that come into computer science. And yeah, they have to show what standard they have done, and then back it up with some artifacts or some factual base evidence.
What game did you create?
I named it Buzzer Beater because, well, it's like buzzers. So pretty much all you do, you just grab one of these, and then I'll be over here, or who's ever it next, because I have some rules here. You can read them, but my handwriting isn't great, so I'd be over here, and I'd be like, 3, 2, 1, go, and then I press it, and then you can hear it. And then somebody would, there's gonna be 4 players, and then it'd be like, it's that simple.
Tell me about the circuit board.
So the circuit board it's kind of annoying to sort through, because you have to grab every individual wire and then pull it out and then connect it to the right thing. And then you have to have all the materials. And the hardest part is, because I always forget, that you need the earth, which is like the thing that makes it conductive. So if I unplugged this from this and I hold this and I tap it, it wouldn't work.
So when thinking about circuits, what does the earth do with the circuit?
It just makes it a complete circuit. Troubleshooting is pretty dang easy. So, for example, up on the board here, if I were to make a code and something went wrong, like instead of turning left, I turned right, I would have to look back through the code and make sure that everything's right. Because if even a little thing's off, the whole thing could go wrong.
And sometimes when we make mistakes like that, we want to give up. But what does computer science teach you to do?
Don't give up. Because the reward is almost always better.
That's awesome.
You get to see like your animation or people having fun doing what you made, because I mean it's just great.
Well, thank you for sharing with us what you've been working on all year long and letting us come and join you during the hectic last week of school.
Thank you. I'm glad you came to Bryce Valley. It's a great school and a great place to visit.
Now that you have seen EdTech Competency 3E in action, consider how you can implement it in your classroom as well. First, get to know Utah's computer science standards. Having an hour of code or hosting a coding club is a great way to kickstart things and get to know the standards. From there, you can expand into all of the various content areas. For elementary teachers specifically, who teach a variety of subjects, it's vital to integrate the computer science standards into the core standards. We all know you have a lot to teach already, so save time by integrating those standards. Try revamping your favorite lesson plans and add computer science components to them by emphasizing computational thinking and algorithms. To access pre-made lesson plans that already have the computer science standards integrated into them, try visiting eMedia, specifically the CS for Utah Hub. If you are specifically a computer science teacher, consider adding real-world connections into the lessons you teach to bring those standards to life. For even more resources, strategies, and tools to help you implement this competency, be sure to visit uen.org/PDTV and access the teacher toolkit that accompanies this episode. Thanks for watching UEN's PDTV. To access more professional development resources from UEN and to schedule a training, visit uen.org/development. We'll see you next time.